everybody. It's Allie. And welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, November 21st, 2021. Adam and Victor launch an all-out nuclear assault on Billy and Chancecom. Plus, Abby gets word that her beloved Chance is alive. But the biggest November sweeps moment of all is still to come because next week, Gloria's back and she's wearing a turban. That's right, a turban. It doesn't get any more exciting than that, folks. Let it never be said that I don't have my storyline priorities in order. I know what I like, I know what excites me, and it's Gloria in a turban. Getting a Thanksgiving spa treatment at the Grand Phoenix Hotel, jabbing at Phyllis for being alone on the holiday. Oh, all right. I know you did not come here today to talk about Gloria. You came here to talk about the king of the screw-ups, the maestro of missteps, William Foster Abbott, better known to us as Billy. Oh, well, you've gone and done it, Y&R. You've gone and done it. Billy has tumbled so far down into the dirt that you've gone and made me feel bad for him. Oh, I know. He walked right into it. But it's hard not to feel bad for someone when they've just been beaten so thoroughly. Billy is now looking to me like a scrawny little alley cat, all scratched up from a fight. He's got ear mites. He's hungry. Here, Billy. I'll give you a bath and a dish of milk. Oh, Gaines. Jesse Gaines tells Billy that the whole Ashland Locke, Camilla Rhodes Will story was a lie. His lie. All along. So, Gaines claims that the will letter was forged. Billy never authenticated it, and now Chancecom has published an unfounded story, which Ashland is ready to sue them into oblivion over. Well, of course, Billy figures it out pretty quickly that Adam and Victor are behind this, but also that the story Jesse Gaines told him is true. The Newmans just gave Jesse Gaines a bigger payout to say that it wasn't true. I mean, presumably that deal was struck in Italy. But, I mean, the real cherry on top of the bad press and the lawsuit that Ashland will rain down onto Chancecom is that Adam tells Ray that Billy has been threatening to release that story before it ever went public. That can't be legal, can it, Ray? Blackmail? Well, I happen to have a recording of it, says Adam. Well played, Team Newman. Well played. I gotta hand it to him. Victor and Adam were always 2 steps ahead of Billy, and now Billy knows that he walked right into their trap. Billy called Adam to find out what the next move is, and Adam says, well, you can sell Chancecom to me for a reasonable price, of course. I mean, it's not going to be worth much anyway after Ashlyn's lawsuit is done with you. Oh, what a crushing blow. What a crushing personal and professional blow. Oh, I mean, say what we will about Billy. Let's also make sure that we are handing it to Jason Thompson this week. He is so good. He is such a good get for daytime. He made Billy look exhausted and beat. Mentally and physically exhausted and just beat. He even looked a little sweaty to me throughout the week. He was kind of stubbly on his beard. He looked sort of greasy or something. I felt Billy's anguish. But setting his own self-preservation aside, or I don't know, maybe simply trying to preserve the one thing he has left, Billy takes one look at the damage that all of this is doing to Lily, and he goes out to the ranch, to the source, to Victor Newman himself, to offer himself up onto the altar, defeated. And Victor was very, well, look at what the cat drug in. You did this to yourself, Billy boy. You seem to collect enemies the way some people collect stamps. Burn. But Billy is sure to remind Victor of his main motivating factor here. Billy says to Victor, everything I did was to protect your daughter. Wow. And I believe that he believes that. In his heart of hearts, I believe that Billy sees himself and has always seen himself as the hero here. I don't think that Billy has the self-awareness to see that he had his own agenda. I mean, he often doesn't. He often cannot see himself. Billy Abbott is a grade A blunderbuss. It's the thing he does best. It is his special talent. Nobody knows how to completely self-destruct quite like him. He is phenomenally good at being bad. And every woman that he has ever been with has lived to discover that. Victoria, Phyllis, now Lily. Billy tried one last time to make a deal. He tells Victor that he will step down from Chancecom if Victor and Adam will leave Lily alone to run it. And that was supposed to be a sacrificial gesture. That was supposed to save Lily's livelihood here by just removing himself and his self-destructiveness from the equation. But when Lily found out about it, when she found out what Billy had proposed to Victor, she didn't quite see it that way. In fact, she erupted. She erupted in emotion and anger and betrayal in a way that we've never really seen her act toward Billy. It's been a good long while since we've seen Lily in this position, in fact, like betrayed by her man. I am suddenly flooded with memories of Cain. Because Cain also did bad things so well. And after years and years of experience, Lily wears the "you did what?" look on her face so well. She's an expert in that wounded shock look. Next week, it looks like Ashland and Victoria are going to make Billy and Lily an offer, presumably to buy Chancecom. That's what I'm guessing here. They just want to buy Chancecom, fold it into Newman Lock, and then go toe-to-toe with Victor and Adam. So maybe Victor and Adam only thought that Ashland was on their side, and no, he's going to flip over and just become their competitor with Victoria. So, I mean, that may be their plan, but I don't know that they're going to be able to pull it off. Things are looking pretty grim here for Chancecom and for Billy, but I don't think that this is game over for Billy or Lily or Chancecom. I think the one hope that Billy has is that Jesse Gaines will recant his recantation. He's going to recant the recantation. I think he will. Because that guy looked like he hated himself for what he was doing. Jesse Gaines had to stand there recording a video confession in front of the Newman Media backdrop screen talking about, yeah, he lied to Chancecom, but what Chancecom did was just irresponsible. Could that have been any more obvious? That it's just one media company trying to smash and discredit the other, with Jesse Gaines caught in the middle selling his soul to the highest bidder. Okay. It's real obvious. So thank goodness Ray's on the case. Ray wants the truth. You can't handle the truth. I am sure that Ray will be able to crack this nut within a few long, arduous months. Ray will be able to crack this case long after Billy has probably been arrested, thrown in jail, and Lily is at the end of her patience with it all. The Farm Boy and the Carney Girl. Can we get a Paramount Plus original series out of that? I love the idea of young Adam, probably wearing flannel, getting robbed at the ring toss by Sally Spectra's parents. And then Sally, probably wearing red pigtail braids, sneaks him the prize that he should have won. And then they both sneak off together to stuff themselves full of funnel cake and cotton candy. Yes, please. I say, yes, please. Adam and Sally. I mean, they're both close in age. I looked it up. Mark Grossman is 34. Courtney Hope is 32, so they do look like they would have grown up together. They look like they would have had a lot of cultural things in common. I also swooned a little bit this week at the idea of Adam in the kitchen in an apron and nothing else, making Hope's pumpkin pie. I can just see him there all covered in flour. Actually, no. I have no doubt that Hope's pumpkin pie is something that Adam could execute flawlessly. Like, there's a lot of things in the kitchen he probably can't do, but I feel like that's his one specialty that you just know he can do flawlessly. And he can serve that to me any day of the week. Any day of the week, I'll have a slice of Adam's pumpkin pie. I am just so pleasantly surprised to see how much personality that Mark Grossman's Adam has been allowed to share these past several months. I mean, his facial expressions, his line delivery, it's all so much better than it was when he was first cast. They're just giving him room to flourish, and I'm just really loving seeing Adam blossom every day, just more and more. And when he told Sally that he transcribed Hope's recipe on a 3x5 note card for her one year as a 9-year-old boy because she couldn't do it because she was blind, I just about lost it. I mean, Y&R was playing into my particular sweet spot right there, but I just about lost it. This is so good. It's just good to be reminded of this part of Adam's history. There's no lack of focus on all of the unsavory parts of Adam's history, but he spent the first 20 years of his life growing up on a farm with a blind mother. That is so important. That is so formative. And it's an experience that sets him apart from every other character on the show. So why not lean into it at least a little? Abby says goodbye to Dom, then packs a bag, sneaks out of the mansion, and gets a hotel room. She said, I've got to get out of this town so I can hear the voices in my head. Well, one voice. Officially, one voice. New Chance's voice, that is. Ooh, a voiceover. How exciting. Why couldn't Y&R have used the new guy and his voiceovers just 2 weeks earlier so that we could have gotten some voiceover from him while Abby was teleporting around town remembering him? Oh, well, I'll take what I can get. And what we got was Abby poring over Chance's military memory box, like looking for clues of his whereabouts, like, oh, Chance's Medal of Honor and old photos of people I don't know. Lead me to Chance. Whatever. She made quite a leap of logic in a lot of this. She was, before you know it, she got the psychic message that she needed to call this military medic couple that Chance thought so fondly of that he wanted to give them his Medal of Honor, but he didn't. He never got around to it, but he wanted to, and Abby knew that. I don't know. I guess Abby was thinking maybe if Chance were in trouble, he would go there, surely, and he did, and he did. There was some mystery around the phone call that she made to this medic couple. The wife answered the phone and couldn't tell Abby anything except that Chance was alive and he needed her. Well, hey, if Chance is alive and he needed Abby, then couldn't you have contacted her by yourself? Couldn't you have contacted her? That would be less fun, I suppose. But Abby was elated. I mean, the moment where she finally got the answer that she knew in her heart was there was incredible. Who wouldn't rejoice at finding out that someone you thought was dead was now alive, and not just any someone, but your husband? Abby knew it. She knew it all along. She had that intuition. She had that feeling, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a bittersweet victory for her. I have a feeling that Abby may find her husband, but that she might find that he's not really the same man that she married. I mean, literally, there's the fact that it's a recast, but also emotionally, I think she might find out that he's not the same man she married. He could have PTSD. He could have amnesia. He could have dropped his ring and his watch on purpose for all we know. Maybe that's it. I just get the feeling that Chance is not going to fit seamlessly back into Genoa City life the way that he did before. I think he and Abby could be struggling for a long time. Leaving Dominic with Devon, or who knows, maybe even launching a 4-way custody battle between Devon, Mariah, Victor, and Ashley. Victor revealed to Nikki this week that he and Ashley actually have joint legal guardianship of Dominic. So if anything happened to Abby, Victor and Ashley would have legal rights to raise the child, but Victor chose not to pursue that? Just purely to respect Abby's wishes? That sounds like Victor. Just totally respecting his children's wishes. Choosing not to step in and try to affect the outcome. But I don't know. I mean, if Abby goes missing indefinitely, like, for instance, if we're just seeing her in a bedroom in Spain for the next month, Victor could change his mind and sue for custody. I'm sure he would love to bring a new generation of grandchild into the Newman fold. And I'm sure there's a pony or a car somewhere that Victor has been wanting to give to young Dominic. For now, Ashley has vowed to go to Spain to locate Abby. Ashley looks amazing in tight snakeskin print. By the way, I mean, who else could pull that off? Tight, kind of light fabric, snakeskin print. Way to go, Ashley. Oh, I do like the idea of getting a Spanish adventure. Ashley one step behind Abby, who is one step behind Chance, traipsing across a foreign landscape to find their loved one and bring them home. That sounds exciting. But meanwhile, Devon can hardly contain his joy at having Dominic around, and Amanda seems to revel in seeing Devon being fatherly. He's a natural at this parenthood thing, and oh, what a flashback. What a flashback we saw of Neil talking to Devon on that very topic. It completely caught me off guard because at first Neil was telling Devon that parenthood is not just a contract. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, that is uncanny. And then I realized that the flashback was of Neil telling Devon to take seriously the contract that he was signing with Hillary when Devon had agreed to be Hillary's sperm donor, before they had fallen back in love and gotten married and everything. So I was wowed by that. It was the perfect flashback. But at the same time, I thought, well, gosh, it's almost as if the writers were itching to write a successful sperm donation story for Devon, one way or another. Never thought of it that way. It was just so nice to see Neil, just seeing his face made me feel warm and comfortable. It's just clear that he just had that way about him. He was able to turn from serious to smile in kind of just a seemingly effortless transition. He just had this really kind face and a kind way about him, and I miss him, and it was nice to see him this week. And I think having Moses around more often would be a good connection point and a good reminder of Neil. I want to see Moses more, and I want to see Moses in scenes with someone other than Faith. It's not that I think Moses and Faith are a bad match or uninteresting. It's just that I want to see Moses folded into the rest of the town, and Faith too. I just want them to be folded into the drama somehow. And I don't know, Moses did tell Devon this week that the baby has his eyes. And that was a notion that had never occurred to Devon before, I guess. And I'm sure that Devon is now going to start to notice little things like that all the time now. Especially as long as Abby is gone. But Devon is trying to find her. He's not trying to delay it or anything. He's pulled Denise, the private eye, out of retirement again to track Abby down. This poor woman, this poor investigator, all she wants to do is be retired. All she wants to do is read a book by the pool and play some tennis. And Devon keeps dragging her back into town for his drama. Ooh, when Mariah found out that Abby had split town, she didn't waste any time getting herself emotionally involved. First, she was hurt that Abby didn't ask her to look after the baby. This from the person who practically ran off the property saying she couldn't be around that baby. Ashley was really patient, I thought, with explaining to Mariah that it wasn't like that. Abby never said anything about not wanting Mariah around the baby. This was just what made Abby feel comfortable. This was just Abby's choice. So Mariah goes to see Dominic and Devon at the penthouse. And when she hears the rumor that Abby may have left town, this was early on in the week, that Abby may have left town, Mariah runs right back to Tessa and Noah and tells them that she thinks Abby is irresponsible, that it's irresponsible that Abby left town. Whoa, wait a minute. Because first of all, at that point, Abby hadn't even been gone for a whole day. She had left that morning. Why are you jumping to conclusions that Abby's irresponsible? That is so rash. It feels like Mariah was just waiting for Abby to mess up or something, and then this was the opportunity that presented itself. Well, how about having some sympathy for Abby, just needing some time to herself, the way that everyone gave you the sympathy and the time to yourself when you asked for it, Mariah? Tessa, patient as ever, was there to calm Mariah down. Literally, Tessa used her hands to say, okay, let's calm down and take a deep breath here. Tessa calmed Mariah down the same way that I do for a 4-year-old. That's all I'm saying. Knowing that Mariah has a hair trigger these days, I wonder if she will start to get paranoid about Tessa and Noah working together to design the cover art for Tessa's new album. Boy, I hope we get to see that. I mean, the cover art. I want to see the cover art because I think it would be really cool if Y&R had a mock-up made and showed Tessa being all excited about it, and maybe Devon could throw a launch party. Ooh. But I also would like to see Tessa and Noah working on the art together. Could give us a little bit more insight to their relationship, where they both are, where he is, what the chemistry level is. I think there's a lot of chemistry there. Noah seems like he is a wounded soul, but he seems aware of it, so at least that's a step in the right direction. Where do you guys stand on this emerging love triangle? Are you rooting for Mariah and Tessa to stay strong, or would you rather see where things go with Noah and Tessa? I think that's going to be our poll question for this week at yrchat.com. Tessa's triangle. Should she stay with Mariah, or should she get to know Noah? Let me know what you think. Go to the website, cast your vote, and we'll tally them up next week. Devon tells Nick that Abby has left town, and Nick is ready to jump into action to find her. But won't that cut into his working toward makeup sex with Phyllis time? Sometimes I feel like we're working toward makeup sex between these two. I don't know. I thought it was very gracious of Nick to invite Phyllis to sit down with him for breakfast. Just to break the ice. Why not? But Phyllis wasn't all that gracious in return. She agreed to sit down with him, but she was digging at him the whole time, being critical of what he was ordering on the menu. I mean, not what he ordered, but that he ordered the same thing all the time. That he always orders only one of two things. Well, so what? He likes what he likes, and he already had the bacon waffles the other day. Lighten up. Right. Nick's the predictable one. Jack is fun and exciting. Jack's the unpredictable, footloose one. Nick's the staunch one. I get it. I just felt like Phyllis was picking a fight. She's the one that brought up the sore subject of his family when she knows it's a sore subject, and then she sulked when it all went downhill from there. Feels forced. But oh well, don't worry. Jack is here to save the day, ma'am. Do you need me to pick up some pieces of your broken relationship? I'll be right there. Walking around outside the restaurant, looking through the stained glass windows. Oh. Michael and Lauren showed up this week to weigh in on Nick and Phyllis's breakup. I did like Lauren's description of what went wrong with those two, because she said, well, maybe it was just one of those quiet realizations that sneak up on you, like that you and the other person are not right for each other after all. I like that. Quiet realizations that sneak up on you. Because, like me, Michael and Lauren were trying to figure out how we got here. And I think that's as good of an explanation as any. It was a quiet realization that sneaks up on you. Lauren also weighed in on Jack's doe eyes toward Phyllis, which she could clearly see within about 3 seconds of seeing them together. And Lauren, who's always up in Jack's love life, was very quick to remind Jack that Phyllis broke his heart more than once. So that's why it was surprising to me that then it was Lauren on Friday who was guiding Phyllis toward the realization that maybe, just maybe, she and Jack are more than friends. Well, yeah, they're ex-husband and wife with decades of history. It shouldn't come as some big shock that they are more than just friends. Like, what is this? A high school rom-com? Do I love Jack? Could I love Jack? Yeah, you already told him that 3 weeks ago in no uncertain terms. Shouldn't a fully functioning adult have some self-awareness by now? Not, tee-hee-hee, am I in love? Ugh, whatever. I need Gloria's turban right about now. Gloria's turban is going to make it all better for me. What I need is for Gloria to get in there and fight for Jack. Phyllis is only going to break his heart again. She will never stop wanting Nick. But Gloria would appreciate Jack, and I think Gloria would challenge Jack in a different way. Oh, Lord, what would Ashley say if Jack were trapped in a love triangle between Phyllis and Gloria? Who would she hate more? Because Ashley had this huge reaction to Jack's confession this week that he'd been drawn back into Phyllis's circle. And Ashley screamed out, "No, not again." All I could think was, "Shh, Ashley, Dominic is sleeping. Don't wake the bread in his bed." Well, Thanksgiving is going to be upon us, and there will be a lot of making nice over pie this upcoming week. I really liked that little line from last week. The answer to who said it is Sally. Sally was talking to Chloe about her patch things up with Lauren plan, saying, "You're going to be over there patching things up with Lauren, making nice over pie, while I'm over here in Siberia getting frozen out, taking all the heat from everything that went down with Victoria's wedding dress." Well, congratulations, Daisy, Henry, Tina, Sandra, Elizabeth, Heather, Keisha, Victoria, Sue W., and Sharita. You guys guessed it right. Now, I have a new one for you this week. Do you know who said it? What good is a win if you can't gloat a little bit? Who said it? What good is a win if you can't gloat a little bit? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And I do have time for just a couple of quick comments here, starting with Sue W., who says, "Eileen Davidson is so gorgeous, but sorry, her hair extensions were awkwardly obvious this week." Ooh, 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 ooh. Why do I have no awareness of hair extensions? I just can't see it. Everybody else always has these great comments about hair extensions, and I'm always oblivious to it. I didn't notice her hair extensions at all. I did notice, though, that Lauren's hair looked a little bit weird. It looked like it was on sideways or something, and I did have a moment of asking myself if it was a wig or something, but maybe it was just hair extensions that had gone awry. Somebody fill me in. I need the hair experts to let me know. Is Lauren having some hair extension issues this week too, in addition to Ashley? Oh, I don't know. The faux pas of the hair extension world. Well, here's a nice note from Diana who says it was nice seeing Neil in the flashback of Devon remembering his dad talking to him about having a child of his own. Y&R must have done a lot of digging in the archives to find the clip. Neil always seemed to have wise words of advice for everyone. Oh yeah, I know. It did seem like, boy, whoever put the effort into finding that clip really nailed it. It was the perfect clip at the perfect time. I loved it. Yeah, that was a great, great scene. So, about our poll last week, should Dominic stay with Devon temporarily? I guess no big surprise here. 62% of you think it's a bad idea for Dominic to be with Devon, even if temporarily. 38% of you voted for it, but speaking for the majority in just a very quick and succinct way, Diane K says, who gives their baby away? Well, I guess some people most certainly do, but it was definitely not expected for on my part anyway, for Abby to have come to that conclusion. Marianne V says there was no reason for Abby to give the baby to Devon. There are people that can help at the house, even Mariah and Devon, as long as Nina or Ashley are there to supervise. Even Nikki and Victor could help, but I don't think the child needs to leave his home. Yeah, I agree. I was almost kind of thinking maybe it would be more interesting if Devon moved over to the Chancellor Mansion. Maybe that would mitigate some of that. Like, let's at least leave Dom in an environment that he knows, if now he is suddenly, without his mother. Abby's his mother. And even there were points in the week where Ashley was talking to the baby saying, I know you miss your mom. And that really hit my heart because, I know this was an unconventional, birth, but Abby is his mom, and he needs her, and I know that she needs him, but she has a different calling, and I think the storyline has a different calling. Southside Granny says this is a bad idea. No one is following their contract. It will be a duel of money versus money. Interesting, Southside Granny, that you mentioned the contracts, because I think it's true. No one has followed their contract through all of this. It does seem like everybody had these black and white ideas of how it was all going to go, how everyone was going to behave. And the second that baby got here, it all changed. And I think you're right. It has to be headed toward a custody battle. There's just too many parties involved who want this child. And you're right, it probably will come down to who has the most money to fight it. But boy, they've all got money. I don't think this is going to bankrupt anybody. Oh, Ellen says the writers did Abby no favors with this move. They could have let Abby explain her decision about the baby to her family and then tell them where she was going. Instead, she looks impulsive and unstable, sneaking out in the dead of night. For a brief period, they wrote Abby as strong, back when she first started buying and developing real estate, I think. But that didn't last. I swear, Abby is the writer's punching bag. Maybe New Chance will be a new beginning. They need to strengthen the Genoa City legacy families before they all crumble. Yeah, I would love for this New Chance to be a new beginning for Abby. That's a really good idea. I just don't think so. There is part of me that feels like this girl is not going to get a happy ending. Not before and not now. I just have a feeling that Chance coming back is not going to be what Abby is expecting. I can imagine that in Abby's mind, she goes to get Chance, she brings him home, he slides right into her, life and home with Dom, everything is hunky-dory, and I just, we know it's daytime, I just don't think that's what it's going to be. I feel like New Chance is going to bring a dark cloud that possibly will end up fueling a custody battle. But should Dominic stay with Devon temporarily, Sue W. says yes. Not that it would necessarily be my choice, or even that I approve, but because it's Abby's choice to make. Period. End. Done. She didn't have to pick family, nor defend her reasons. Devon is caring, perfectly capable, and Abby's choice. Ooh, great comment, Sue W. Y&R viewer 123 voted yes because it's better to leave Dominic with Devon than to leave him with Mariah. Why? While Devon may also be attached to the baby, Mariah may become overly attached to the baby if ever Dominic stays with her for weeks or months. But Devon has Amanda, a lawyer, by his side, and if Devon refuses to follow the contract, Amanda will convince him to return the baby to Abby. Ooh, Y&R viewer 123, there's a couple of things in there. It's interesting that Mariah is almost the obvious threat for custody because Mariah's been very open about her feelings of attachment. It's almost as if Devon will sneak in there and maybe not, he has not admitted his feelings yet. And so maybe his feelings will little by little start to overcome him. And I think while Mariah's the obvious I don't know if I should call her a threat, but the obvious one to try to do a lawsuit, I think Devon is the dark horse. And I think it's very possible that he will find himself little by little wanting to keep Dom. I don't necessarily think it's a foregone conclusion that Amanda would convince him not to. I feel like Amanda is more likely to convince him too, especially since she's coming off of these issues with Sutton and her family and the realization that she was so close to having her biological father close to her in her life. And just by the way, side note, looks like we're going to get a verdict on that next week. So that's good news too. Looking forward to it. On the topic of Mariah, Keisha says Mariah needs to get over herself. I just need her to realize that Abby is doing the best she can. Abby's hubby is presumed dead, so if she needs some time and feels like Dominic is safe with Devon, who is Mariah to judge? Well, Sherrod says, I must say that I found what Ashley and Jack said to Mariah to be a little insensitive. They stated that the reason Abby left Dominic with Devon is because they have been friends for years and have always relied upon each other. Yeah, right. But this is the woman that was supposed to be just a great friend that Abby asked her to carry her baby. She didn't ask Devon to be the donor. He volunteered after learning from Mariah that Chance was not able to father a child right now and that Abby was having a hard time finding a sperm donor. But I guess that no longer counts for anything. Typical behavior of the rich. When you're no longer useful, you are dismissed. I'm now rooting for Mariah to go after Bowie and Dominic, despite what I was feeling before and Mariah's attachment to the baby. Ooh, Sherrod is rooting for Mariah to go in and take that baby. It's an interesting point though too. It's like Mariah's friendship with Abby definitely got built up around the time of her wedding and the baby, where it wasn't really there before, whereas Abby does have more of a history with Devon, yet she didn't ask Devon to be the participant. Devon volunteered. Well, let's flip over to the other hot topic of the week. Robbie says, is it me or does Billy have amnesia? He is pushing this narrative that the article was to protect his company from Victor and Adam, but he forgets that he started this whole thing when he published the expose on Adam. He couldn't leave well enough alone, and now he's convinced himself that he's done nothing wrong and that everything he's done has been in an effort to protect his company and Victoria. It also was interesting it kind of dawned on me, and I realized on Friday that the article that ended up getting published was the article that Billy had written. He said, I never intended to publish it. I was never going to publish it. I just wanted to use it as leverage to get Victor and Adam to leave me alone. But the fact that he did go through with writing the article maybe makes me question whether or not that was true. Do you think that Billy would have published it eventually? I think that's a good question. He says he never was going to publish it, but he has in the past, as Robbie points up, published articles about Adam and the Newman family. Making a Monster is the prime example. So if things hadn't gone his way, and if Adam and Victor hadn't trumped him, would he have gone through with publishing it anyway? I think that's a really good question. Well, on a pro-Billy point, Kamna says, wow, the Adam and Billy storyline has been fun. I love it, but I'm ready for Billy's revenge plan and wiping that smug look off of Adam's face, maybe as soon as late spring. I might be in the minority here, but I don't think Billy is totally in the wrong here. He was trying to protect Victoria and his kids. I don't find Billy to be a particularly bad guy. He's a devoted dad, is generally a good guy who's done a lot of selfless things like jumping into fires to save kids. Does Billy sometimes get in his own way? Sure, but the fact is he is flawed and knows it, and that makes him lovable. If you ask me, people love to blame Billy and insult Billy for anything and everything, and he takes it in stride. Ooh, great comment, Kamna. I do love that. And I think you're right that Billy's not a bad guy. I think he's a bad boy. He's very much a bad boy, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he has, an altogether unredeemable personality or something. I think he's flawed. And he knows it, but I also think that is interestingly balanced with his huge ego, where he does think that he's right, and he does think he knows something different than everyone else. And I think that's what ends up tripping him up more than not, and more than just a little. I mean, Billy doesn't fail all the time, but when he does fail, he fails spectacularly. Superplex says, I'm guessing that the deal that Victoria and Ashland are offering is, we drop the lawsuit, you sell Chanchcom to the Newman Locke Enterprises. Yes, Superplex, that's exactly what I was thinking too. That maybe that we got a little bits of hints of potentially, I think it was Lily who was implying that maybe Adam and Victor are on Ashland's side now, but what happens later? You're all on the same team now, but what happens later? I wonder if that was a hint of the split, that maybe Ashland is going to backstab Adam and Victor, and then maybe he's going to get in on the action with Victoria, and that's going to set up the rivalry being between Ashland and Victoria versus Adam and Victor. Now, whether or not Billy and Lily actually do sell Chanchcom, Victor and Adam could just find out that Ashland was trying to backstab them, and that could create a rift there. And Sue W. says, oh yeah, now I see it. Billy's gonna be vindicated when Victor and Adam's allegiance dizzyingly drops from Ashland. Yeah, I think that might very well be what happens here. I feel like at the end of the day, probably Chanchcom is going to remain where it is, but maybe we are establishing a new rivalry there between Victoria Ashland and Victor Adam. Hey, another factor that we haven't talked about yet. Daisy says, I wish that Jill would sell Chanchcom to Victor. Billy gets himself into these situations because he's a gambler and always wants to get back at Adam. His involvement in trying to take down Ashland is no different. Take down Ashland to get back at Adam and Victor, maybe even get Victoria back like Ashland said. But Chanchcom is named for the Chancellor family. So Jill may sell it to preserve their good name, and whoever she sells it to can and will ensure that happens. Not what Billy did. And since Victor adored Catherine Chancellor, I think he could make that happen. Oh, so Daisy's rooting for Victor to buy Chance.com and to revamp it and restore it. Well, we do know that Jill is coming back. I am assuming it is in large part going to have to do with Chance's return, and I'm sure she's going to weigh in on the Chance.com mess, no doubt about it. She's the owner. I almost wonder if it would be interesting to see Jill put Chance in charge of Chance.com. He's going to need a job. He's going to need something to do. It is his family's namesake. You know, Jill is going to be elated to see Chance alive, and she is going to be tisking, wagging her finger at Billy. So it could be Billy out, Chance in. Well, speaking of Chance, Gary says, I almost fell out of my chair in surprise to discover that in the middle of the Thursday episode, on day one of her journey, Abby uncovered the reality that Chance is very much alive and in need of her, tucked away in a location in Spain and hiding with friends. A kindly old couple, or young sexies. Well, that was the last thing I expected to hear, and I bet every other chatter felt the same. Imagine, no fuss, no muss. Y&R pleased us by cutting away with the rigmarole and taking us directly to the finish line. Bravo! Chance is indeed very much alive, although I hear through the chat rumor mill that it's not exactly Danny Donnie. Yeah, it did. We did get there. We did cut through the rigmarole. Victoria says, I was surprised how they're wrapping up the story. Normally, Y&R shows us the battered character and their good Samaritan with their new environment. Example, Victor with Hope, Sharon with Sam. It takes forever for their family and friends to find them, and I was surprised that they brought in the idea of Chance reaching out to these medics who just happen to live where he is stationed undercover. If this gets wrapped up quickly, there may not be enough time for Devon to start making a case for custody, as many of us have predicted. That's true. Yeah, I mean, if it wraps up quickly enough, Devon may not have time to start a case for custody, or Mariah or anybody else, even though it does seem like the signs are pointing there. Y&R could just be messing with us about the idea of the custody. But I think the larger point here that that speaks to me is the fact that Y&R wisely realized that they've stretched this all out long enough. Like a year long enough. It is wise of them now to get to the point. You're right, Victoria. They normally would have spent a lot of time showing us Chance with the medics and, whatever his journey is getting back to Genoa City. But you might be right that they realize they've done enough stretching and they're just getting us right back to Genoa City. And I, for one, am fine with that. Oh, how about this? Astra says, can we give Michael and Lauren a storyline, please? Why are they on screen just to talk about their best friends, Phyllis and Nick, breaking up? Don't get me wrong. I loved the foursome of Nick and Phyllis and Michael and Lauren hanging out back in the day, but when is the last time we saw them all hang out together? I feel like they've barely done that, if at all, since the most recent times Nick and Phyllis have been together. Yeah, that's so true. And it's funny because, Astra, I laughed a little bit when Lauren made that line about, our best friends are in trouble. And I thought, really? Those are your best friends? We never see you together. Hey, I say bring back the Baldwins. I mean, not only just that friendship, but bring back the Baldwins. Especially now that we are getting toward Thanksgiving. I could really go for a Baldwin family Thanksgiving. Never a dull moment with those guys. I mean, I am happy to see Michael and Lauren. It's always lovely. I like seeing them together. I liked hearing that they're still in love. And it seems that Lauren has a little bit more of a presence on the show these days than Michael does, because she certainly has been involved in Jack's love life for quite a while now, and the whole teardrop of love mystery. And Michael comes in to support that, but he's definitely not a main character. But he did get his own little side story with Amanda. and Sutton's case, and maybe we're going to see him back again next week. We're getting more Michael and Lauren. It's just not enough. Well, let's end on this. Victoria says, the Newman Ranch has a few lovely fall touches. There's a brown velvet pumpkin on a table between the couch and the chair and the fireplace. The firelight simulation was nice too. And then on the bar by the chess set, there's that amazing orange glass pumpkin. I'm crossing my fingers that we get a Newman Thanksgiving this year. Victoria, I loved those velvet pumpkins. There was more than one of them. There was a brown one. I think there was a green one. There was a brownie orange one. And you better believe I saw that orange glass pumpkin too. It was really nicely decorated around the Newman Ranch for fall. I don't know if we're going to see an actual Thanksgiving table though this year. But like you, I'll keep my fingers crossed. Now, since next week is the holiday chatters, just a friendly reminder, there's not going to be new episodes on Thursday and Friday. So Thursday, they usually do the parade, and I think Friday there was sports. Go sports. Some manner of sports will be on Friday. But I think certain time zones might get a rerun of Ashlyn's and Victoria's wedding. I think maybe that might be Thursday. It's an encore episode of the Ashland and Victoria Tuscan wedding. So enjoy that if you get to see it again. And now I am off to my very own Tuscan wedding. Or not my wedding, but I'm off to attend the Tuscan wedding. I'm off to Tuscany in my cape. I now have to fly away to Tuscany in my cape for a jet-setting wedding. But hey, I got it all pulled together for a Y&R chat anyway. Go me. Doing it all. Oh, I think it might end up being a little bit short, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And I hope you guys still go to yrchat.com to leave your comments. Then come back next week and we will chat all about this good November sweepsy drama, even if there's only 3 days of it. I love you guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Tell me what you're cooking. Tell me what you're eating. And I hope just so much love and happiness for you and your families this upcoming week and always. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.